The sun rises over a warm, wet world. Ferns cover the ground as far as the eye can see. The air is thick and humid, heavy with the smell of earth and ancient water. A herd of triceratops move slowly through the lowland forest, their footsteps leaving deep prints in the soft mud. Somewhere in the distance, a tyrannosaurus calls out, a low resonant sound that travels across the plain and fades into the trees. It is an ordinary morning, like the millions of mornings before it, and it is the last one that will ever come. This is the story of how the dinosaurs disappeared, not just the story of a rock falling from the sky. That part lasts only seconds. The real story is everything else. The world they had built over millions of years, why they were so perfectly made for it, and why that same perfection became their undoing. To understand how they ended, we first need to understand who they were. When most of us think of dinosaurs, we picture monsters. Giant, slow, stupid animals waiting to be replaced by something better. But that image is wrong. Almost completely wrong. Dinosaurs were not failures. They were one of the most successful groups of animals the Earth has ever produced. They first appeared around 230 million years ago. They survived volcanic winters, the slow grinding drift of continents, and changes in climate that would have erased most life as we know it. They spread to every corner of the planet. They filled every role that exists in a living world. The hunters, the hunted, the grazers, the giants, the small and clever ones hiding in the undergrowth. By the time we reach their final day, they have already been ruling the Earth for 165 million years. To put that in perspective, modern humans have existed for roughly 300,000 years. The dinosaurs outlasted us by a factor we can barely calculate. They were not a mistake waiting to be corrected. They were the world. The most famous among them were the giants. The Tyrannosaurus, 12 meters long, 6 tons of muscle and instinct, with a bite force stronger than any animal before or since. The Triceratops, armored, horned, built like a living fortress. The long-necked sauropods, some of them longer than 3 school buses placed end to end, moving in slow herds across the floodplains and eating entire treetops in a single sitting. But there were smaller ones too, feathered ones, quick ones, dinosaurs that hunted in packs, that built nests, that cared for their young. Some of them, if you saw them today without knowing what they were, you might mistake for a strange bird, because in a very real sense, that is exactly what they were becoming. Around them lived a whole world of creatures we have almost forgotten. Giant marine reptiles in the oceans, pterosaurs filling the sky with wingspans wider than a small plane, enormous crocodilians in the rivers. The Cretaceous was not just the age of dinosaurs, it was the age of giants, a warm, lush, crowded world, full of life pressing in from every direction. And then, 66 million years ago, something arrived that none of them had ever faced before. High above the Yucatan Peninsula, in what is today the Gulf of Mexico, the sky tears open. A rock, almost 10 kilometers wide, moving at nearly 70,000 kilometers per hour. It has been drifting through the darkness of space for billions of years, following the invisible rules of gravity. It has no purpose, no destination. By pure, cold chance, the Earth is in its path. The animals below do not see it coming. There is no warning, not yet. The impact happens in less than a second. The energy released is beyond anything a human mind can comfortably hold. More than 1 billion nuclear bombs, all at once, in a single point. The rock vaporizes ocean, rock, and everything alive within hundreds of kilometers in an instant. A crater 180 kilometers wide is carved into the planet's crust. The sea is gone. The ground itself flows like water, and then the sky begins to change. Imagine a triceratops in the lowlands of what is now North Dakota, 1,000 kilometers from the impact. It is grazing in the early morning light, moving slowly through the ferns. It doesn't feel the ground shake at first, but then it does. A long, low trembling, unlike anything in its experience. It raises its head. To the south, the horizon is wrong. There is a brightness there that shouldn't exist. A second sunrise in the wrong place, growing. Within minutes, the sky begins to fill with tiny glowing particles, fragments of rock blasted so high that they left the planet entirely, and are now falling back down. Billions of them. As they re-enter the atmosphere, they heat the air around them. The sky itself begins to radiate warmth, then heat, then something far worse. For a few terrible minutes, the atmosphere becomes an oven, not from fire spreading on the ground, from heat pouring down from above. Forests ignite all at once across an entire continent without a single spark ever touching the ground. Animals in open areas have nowhere to go. The ones sheltering in rivers, in burrows, beneath the thickest canopy, have a few more minutes, but only a few. The fossil site at Tanis in North Dakota has preserved this moment with extraordinary detail. Fish are found there with tiny glass beads lodged in their gills, spherules of molten rock that rained from the sky while the fish were still alive and breathing. They died within the first hour. They didn't even have time to sink to the bottom before the sediment swallowed them. That is how fast it happened. The sun rises, but here is what makes this story different from a simple disaster. The first hour is not what killed them. The survivors faced something harder. They faced the years that followed. The asteroid sent sulfur across the entire planet. A thin veil wrapped around the Earth, blocking the sun. Without the sun, everything fails. Temperatures drop. The rains turn acidic. The fern fields die. The food that had always been there starts to disappear. It is not a single catastrophe. It is a slow unraveling. One lost meal at a time. One herd a little smaller this season than last. There is one detail that makes their story feel almost unbearably fragile. They were enormous. A large body is wonderful in a stable world. But when food collapses, size becomes a trap. When the plants failed, the herbivores failed. When the herbivores failed, there was nothing left for the hunters. The larger you were, the faster you starved. In the darkness, something moved through the debris. Small shapes pressing close to dead roots. Our ancestors could eat almost anything. The animals that asked the least from the world were the ones the world still had something to give. Needing less was everything. The last non-avian dinosaur did not know it was the last. Perhaps it simply lay down and did not get back up. It did not know it was closing a chapter open for 165 million years. Or that the small creature watching from the shadows would one day build cities and look up at the sky. The last of the giants, unaware. The first of what would become us, watching from the dark. Look out your window. If there is a tree, there is almost certainly a bird in it. That bird is a dinosaur, descended in an unbroken line from the feathered theropods of the Cretaceous. Every sparrow, every crow, every eagle above the savanna. The line never completely broke. Today, we watch other animals at edges we helped push them toward. Elephants, rhinos, whales. We see permanent. The dinosaurs must have seemed that way too. That skeleton in the museum is not a monument to failure. It is proof that even the most successful story the Earth has ever told can be interrupted on an ordinary morning. And it leaves us with a question the dinosaurs never had the chance to ask. What do we do with the time we have? For more short documentaries like this, make sure to subscribe to our channel, Planet Bite.